och i den här olyckan då omkom basisten Cliff Burton. Igår kväll träffade jag Metallicas trummis Lars Ulrich som ursprungligen kommer från just Köpenhamn dit bandet var på väg i morse. Lars flyttade till USA för 6 år sedan och där träffade han gitarristen James Hetfield. Och de båda startade så småningom Metallica som ju är känt för sina mycket speciella låtar. Vad har de då för influenser i sin musik?
Well, I think obviously nowadays we try and at least in the songwriting, try and stay away from as many outside influences as we can to sort of obviously inject as much of our own sound and our own feel into the songs. When we started out back in 1981, 82, we were obviously quite inspired by a lot of things that were going on in Britain and Europe at the time. I think we sort of got a bit influenced in the beginning by some of the things that Motorhead were doing back in 1980-81 in terms of the sort of energy and the sort of up-tempo things that they did back then. And the other main influence back then was a band that's not too well known anymore, or even wasn't too well known back then, which is a band from Birmingham in England called Diamond Head, which had about 3 albums out between 1980 and 82. They were a big influence in the whole thing with writing long songs, trying to fit a lot of different things in within a song, with things like tempo changes and mood changes and so forth. And those are like the two influences back then. Like I said, obviously nowadays we try and sort of just do our own thing and not really think too much about, you know, what outside things, and just sort of go for what feels right for us. All of us listen a lot to other bands, and we're very, I tend to think at least, that we're very aware of what other bands are doing and what goes on around us and what this band is doing with their music. And I think one thing that we learned from that, without maybe being influenced by the music or anything, we learned what not to do. Mm-hmm. And that's probably one of the things with this band. We've always been very careful to sort of avoid a lot of the cliches and a lot of things that we see around us in heavy metal that we don't like.
Ja, Metallica inspireras inte mycket av andra heavy metal-band. De försöker helt enkelt hålla sig till sin egen musikstil, och det har ju visat sig att de klarar av det. I starten 1981 lyssnade de mycket på Motorhead och Diamond Head, och det var just Diamond Head som då inspirerade Metallica att skriva låtar med mycket tempoväxlingar och olika harmonier. Någonting som går tillbaka till den klassiska musiken.
Yeah, that's what some people say. It's more interesting when you write the songs to, it's like a bit of a challenge almost. It's like sort of you against the song, and it's like you want to try and really make something work. I think it's more fun when we write the stuff to try and sort of both surprise ourselves and surprise the people listening with trying to change the moods and the feels of the song. And a lot of times when you put a lot of different moods and feels within a track, it's like they complement each other really well and make some of the other bits in the song stand out even more. So for instance, if you have like a sort of nice, maybe soft classical piece before you do something really heavy or fast or whatever, then the heavy fast stuff will seem even more punchy and more powerful if it follows something a bit more subtle, and some of those things and those ideas are just interesting to work with. It's just more fun than always taking the easy way out, you know. Oh, we'll just fade out, you know, after the third chorus or whatever. It's predictable. Mm-hmm. I mean, why should you do something you don't want to do? You know, it's more interesting to write sort of a bit complicated things and try and make things like that work instead of just always being so easy. You know, just, you know, verse, chorus, solo, and then just end. It's too easy. Get bored.
Battery, en låt skriven av Metallica-grundarna James Hetfield och Lars Ulrich. Och Lars, han berättar att det är just de här tempoväxlingarna och harmonibyterna som gör det så spännande att skriva just den här musiken. Det är kontrasterna i en och samma låt som gör det, från väldigt lugna toner till tung heavy metal. Och man kan ju faktiskt inte låta bli att undra över hur de skriver sina låtar.
Me and James had been sharing a house together in San Francisco for about 3 years, where we had the garage sort of converted into a sort of rehearsal studio type thing. And since we live together and all that, it's easier for us to write when we feel like it, instead of saying, okay, well, we write at Monday at 2 o'clock, you know. So, like, it's easier to write when you just sort of feel like doing it. And because me and him lived together, when every one of us would get an idea, we could just take it out in the studio right away and work on it when it felt like it was time to work on something. And he comes up with most of the guitar riffs, and I come up with a lot of the main ideas for the songs, for the feels of the songs, the arrangements and so forth. And me and him sort of get the skeletons of the songs together, and we have tapes of the other two guys' main riffs and main ideas. And we work on the, like I said, the skeleton, and if we need like a new riff or anything like that, we might go listen to one of the other guys' tapes of some ideas, maybe throw one of their ideas in or whatever. And then when we have like sort of the basis for a whole song, we then have the other guys come over one at a time, go through it with them, and see if there's any changes or anything they want to add or whatever, and then just sort of that's how the songs come about.
Ja, Lars och James, de bor tillsammans i en villa i Los Angeles sedan 3 år tillbaka. Och det är alltså i deras garage som idéerna föds till nya Metallica-låtar. James kommer för det mesta med idéerna till gitarrkompet, medan Lars fixar sångstämmorna och arrangemangen. Och skulle det nu vara någon bit i det här låtpusslandet som saknas, ja, då kan de lyssna på band där de övriga medlemmarna har spelat in lite nya egna idéer. Och det är just så hela deras senaste LP, Master of Puppets, har kommit till. En LP som inte bara står för 8 fristående låtar. Nej, där finns faktiskt också ett tema.
The last album has a sort of theme on a lot of the songs about the whole thing that we see going on around, especially in America, with the whole thing with manipulation and people maybe not being as free as they think they are, and maybe not being completely in control of what they do, even though they think they are, or they're being told that they are. I mean, and these things in control could be, you know, the government, religion, drugs, alcohol. It could be anything, the military. I mean, whatever sort of, I mean, for each person runs their life, maybe sort of subconsciously or whatever. Those are just some of the things that we've written about on the last album.
Puppets. Trummisen Lars Ulrich, han förklarade att Master of Puppets LP:n, den är skriven på ett tema, nämligen det kontrollerade samhället, där människors liv styrs av olika makter, som till exempel regering, religion och krigsmakten, eller som de själva uttrycker det, marionetter eller dockornas härskare, Master of Puppets. Trots den hemska olycka som hände i morse strax utanför Ljungby, då bassisten Cliff Burton så tragiskt dog, hoppas jag verkligen att vi får höra mer av Metallica i framtiden. Vi hörs igen nästa vecka. Hej då!
Real metal is bad.